Laura, my 4-year-old daughter, attacked me. A knife glinted in her small hand, the blade flashing dangerously close. I barely dodged it, my heart pounding in my chest. She chased me around the room, her little hands reaching, her cries and screams piercing the air. "Laura, stop," I pleaded, my voice trembling. Finally, I managed to soothe her, calming her down enough to pry the knife from her grasp. She was still pale, her tiny body trembling. "Why are you doing this?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. Her answer, choked out between sobs, sent a jolt of shock through me. "I lost. The sight of justice always wins. But Laura can't, because she can't use magic." Someone had manipulated my daughter, my innocent 4-year-old Laura. But who? I'm Margaret, 36 years old. My husband Eric and I run a successful company. Business is stable thanks to our excellent employees. Eric is an incredible salesman, working for a different company. He often boasts about clients appointing him as their representative, proudly stating, "They like me so much." Work keeps me busy, but I always make time for Laura. Recently, she's become obsessed with magical girl anime. When Laura grows up, I'll become a righteous warrior. I'll defeat the bad guys and protect everyone in town. Her dream of becoming a magical girl was so heartwarming, so purely childlike, that it filled me with a fierce desire to cheer her on. I never imagined someone would exploit that dream. Her behavior changed abruptly after her 4th birthday. One minute she'd be happily engrossed in her anime, the next she'd be shrouded in sadness, her face etched with a deep, unsettling melancholy. "Laura, are you worried about anything?" I'd ask, my brow furrowed with concern. "No, it's nothing," she'd murmur, her expression downcast, refusing to elaborate. One weekend, Eric was away for work, leaving Laura and me to enjoy some quality time. As I was preparing lunch, she suddenly jumped on my leg, startling me. "Mommy," she began, her voice small. At that moment, I was holding a knife. The shock jolted my hand, sending the knife clattering to the floor. Thankfully, it didn't hit either of us, but the thought of Laura getting hurt sent a surge of fear through me. "Laura, when Mommy is cooking, you have to stay back, far away. You can't be within reach even if you stretch your arms out, I always tell you that." My voice was sharper than I intended, and Laura's eyes welled up with tears. Seeing her cry, I immediately regretted frightening her. Before I could apologize, Laura grabbed the fallen knife and swung it at me. "Laura!" I cried, narrowly avoiding the blade. She chased me around the kitchen, her small voice screaming, "Laura's gotta beat up Mommy!" My child wielding a knife, her face contorted with fear and something else I couldn't quite decipher, broke my heart. She was usually such a kind, well-behaved girl. Unless I did something, Laura was in danger. I waited for an opportunity, my mind racing. As she stood there trembling, I quickly moved behind her, grabbed her arm as if to hug her, and wrestled the knife away. Relief washed over me as I realized we were both unharmed. I lost the sight of justice," she mumbled, her voice barely audible. "Always wins. But Laura can't, because she can't use magic." Laura crumpled to the floor, tears streaming down her face. There had to be a reason for her terrifying behavior. "Laura, it's okay, I soothed, rubbing her back gently. Slowly, her sobs subsided. "Laura, why did you do such a dangerous thing?" I asked, my voice soft. Because in order to become a magical girl, you have to defeat the bad guys," she stammered, her eyes wide. "But Mommy, you tried to beat Mommy, right? Did you think Mommy was a bad guy?" I asked, my stomach twisting. Had my earlier outburst been so shocking? She didn't answer immediately, lost in thought, her gaze darting back and forth. Finally, she spoke, her voice heavy. "I love you so much. I don't think you're a bad guy. But to think like that is favoritism." "Who said that?" I pressed, my heart sinking. "Daddy," she whispered, her answer sending a wave of shock and anger through me. I was stunned. When I questioned her further, she revealed that Eric had been filling her head with lies, telling her every day that I was a bad person. "Mommy makes Laura angry and sad because she's mean," she confessed, her voice trembling. He had even told her that she wouldn't become a true magical girl unless she defeated me and left me alone. Daddy told me before leaving for work that if I stabbed you with a kitchen knife, I could defeat you, she revealed, her eyes filled with tears. My earlier outburst had only confirmed his words in her young mind. The fallen knife had presented itself as an opportunity, and Laura, believing she had to defeat me, had acted. Ignoring the burning desire to confront my husband about his cruel manipulation, I focused on Laura. I had to erase the poison he had instilled in her. Laura, you know Mommy isn't being mean when I scold you. I do it because I love you so much, and I worry about you getting hurt. I'm sorry I raised my voice, I said, gently stroking her head. She looked up at me, and a small, genuine smile finally graced her lips. What was Eric thinking? Manipulating a vulnerable child like this? Whatever his intentions, I could never forgive him. He had almost driven Laura to commit an irreparable sin. I would expose him, reveal his true colors. First, I needed evidence. Checking my computer, I found his message history. The truth hit me like a physical blow. He was using Laura for his own selfish gain. I did my best to suppress the anger that wells up. Did he use Laura for this? Inexcusable. I'm going to kick you into hell. Prepare yourself. I seethed, my fists clenching. Taking a deep breath, I regained my composure. I called Laura, who was happily playing with her dolls. Laura, let's text Daddy on Mommy's phone, I said, my voice calm. Okay, what are you going to send? She asked, her eyes bright. I'm going to write, Laura, I did it, Daddy, I replied, showing her my phone. Laura looked puzzled. But I haven't beaten my mommy. Are you going to lie to my daddy? I'm not lying. You did try to beat me. It was a bold move, but you did what Daddy told you to do, right? I explained gently. But remember this. Don't stab anyone with a knife. It's better to make them reflect on their regrets, not harm them. Oh, you said sorry for Laura earlier, she exclaimed, remembering my words. So I'm just going to report it to Daddy. I smiled at Laura, her face beaming, and sent the message to Eric. I couldn't risk Laura's safety any longer. We were leaving. Laura, let's go to Grandma and Grandpa's house, I announced. Yay! It's been a long time since I've seen Grandpa and Grandma, she cheered, her earlier anxieties forgotten. As we were getting ready, Eric came home. Shoot, he's earlier than usual. I wonder if he came back as soon as he saw the email from Laura, I thought, panic rising in my chest. I turned, forcing a casual tone. Welcome home, I greeted him. He froze, his eyes widening in disbelief. Huh? Why are you still alive? He blurted out, as if he'd seen a ghost. He had been plotting to make me disappear. Laura, go to your room and get ready to go out, I instructed, my voice firm. I couldn't risk her being near him. As Laura went to her room, I turned to Eric, my gaze cold. What are you doing to our child? I demanded. He looked away, his eyes shifting nervously. Then, with a frustrated click of his tongue, he muttered, So she told you. He seemed to think I couldn't hear him, quickly regaining his composure. What the hell are you talking about? I pressed, my voice laced with anger. You taught her that if she didn't defeat me, she wouldn't be a respectable magical girl, right? That's what she told me. Don't be ridiculous, he scoffed, dismissing my accusation. He seemed to think he could brush it off as random nonsense. But his earlier reaction betrayed him. Before I could press further, the intercom buzzed, interrupting our confrontation. It was my parents, their faces etched with worry, waiting at the door. I had contacted them earlier, asking them to pick us up. I had planned to go to their house regardless of Eric's return, but I decided to send Laura ahead with them while I had a serious discussion with my husband. I printed out the messages from Eric's computer, laying them out on the table. Huh? What the hell is this? Did you see my email? It's an invasion of privacy, he sputtered, feigning outrage. It just looks like you're faking the fact that you were having an exchange that shouldn't have been seen, I retorted, my voice icy. The messages revealed his affair. He and his mistress were discussing their love, their plans for a future together. He had even transferred a large sum of money to her. The reason for his manipulation of our daughter was laid bare. I'm going to use the brat to send my soon-to-be wife to the other world, and all the money will be mine. So let's be happy together. What's that? You wanted my inheritance and let Laura do such a terrible thing, didn't you? I asked, my voice shaking with rage. What are you talking about? He blustered, trying to deny the undeniable. I know you taught Laura that she could kill me by stabbing me with a kitchen knife, I stated, playing the audio recording of my conversation with Laura. Eric's face hardened, his eyes cold. Wow, you caught that too, so it's pointless to say anything more now, he said, his voice devoid of remorse. He had been caught red-handed and he knew it, but instead of remorse, he was defiant. What kind of parent would let their child kill others on their behalf? I asked, my voice trembling with anger and disgust. Because of you, Laura almost got into something horrible. She's 4 years old. There's no way she's going to get a criminal penalty. She'll be dismissed for not being responsible anyway. She's going to be on probation, worst-case scenario. That's not the point, he said, waving away my concerns. I'm just asking you to think about her feelings. Have you ever thought about how deeply traumatized she could be? His words, spoken with such callous indifference, sent a wave of nausea through me. He was fine as long as he didn't get caught. He didn't care about the potential trauma Laura could have suffered. He didn't even apologize. I took a deep breath, forcing myself to remain calm. I wouldn't let him get to me. I'm not going to just divorce you. I'm going to take your money, your job, everything. So be prepared, I stated, my voice cold and resolute. Huh? What are you talking about? You can't do that. My work has nothing to do with your company. You can't act like that just because you're the president, he shouted, his face contorted with rage. For starters, I demand alimony for both you and your cheating partner, I said, my voice unwavering. And if you tell your business partner about this, it will ruin your credibility. You won't be able to manipulate me like that. You don't know who my business partner is. It's a trade secret. He laughed mockingly, as if I had no power over him. But as I started naming companies, his face paled. That's the person I'm dealing with. How do you know? He stammered, his confidence crumbling. So my guess was perfectly right after all, I said, a grim satisfaction settling in my chest. It's my company's business partner, someone I'm personally close to. You know, no way, he whispered, his face ashen. He had been appointed as a sales representative not because of his own charm, but because of me. He had boasted about his clients, but it was my influence that had secured those appointments. The realization crushed his pride. He nodded in dismay, finally understanding that my influence was far greater than he had imagined, and that he was in serious trouble. He began to tremble, his face pale. Eventually, he bowed his head so low that his forehead nearly touched the floor. It was my bad. I'm so sorry. So please don't tell my business partners about this. Forget about divorce, and let's start over. I'm going to break up with my cheating partner, and I'll never do this again. Never again, he pleaded, his voice cracking with desperation. What are you talking about? The worst thing you can do is to do it even once. What you've done isn't just cheating, it's an attempted crime. And it's the worst thing you've ever done to make Laura suffer, I said, my voice cold and unforgiving. But I'm remorseful, and I swear that from now on I'll take care of not only Laura, but also you, he cried. You made that vow when we got married, but you broke it like it was nothing. There's no point in just apologizing or sitting on the ground as a performance, I retorted, my voice unwavering. I continued to speak, my words like ice, until he understood that no matter what he said, I would never forgive him. I will never forgive you for trying to manipulate my precious Laura and have good things just for yourself. Don't you ever show up in front of us again. Got it? With that, I packed my belongings and left the house. The divorce was finalized quickly. Eric was fired after a client learned the truth about our separation. I reported his actions to the police, providing them with the recording of my conversation with Laura as evidence. I didn't know what charges he would face, but his reputation was ruined. He would likely be fired even if he avoided jail time. His mistress was forced to take out loans to pay my alimony, struggling to repay her debt. Laura, thankfully, seemed to have escaped any lasting emotional scars. I hadn't been physically hurt. Watching her play, her face lit up with joy as she pretended to be a magical girl, filled me with a fierce determination to protect her. For the sake of my daughter's happiness, for the sake of our future, I would cherish our life together. Thanks for watching. How did you find the story? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more awesome stories like this. Your feedback and support mean a lot.